Oh my goodness,
Let's
my
go.
goodness, my goodness. Thank you,
Let's
Lord.
Let's
Things
go.
happen, things happen, man. It is a wonderful morning. Let's I'll turn down
Oh,
all
we're in. We're
electronics.
in.
Yeah, we're in. We're
Okay,
in. I'm
okay,
turning
okay.
down all electronics, all my stuff. I'm heading over to Facebook to see where we at, what we doing. We are on live. Excuse me. There we go. There we go. There we go.
What a morning.
Yeah. It's one of those days, man. Share the feed. Post. All right. So yeah. So let's go ahead and do what it is we normally do to bring this show in. We gotta change this opening at some point anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Black Filmmakers Now Saturday morning indie industry Shoptalk. I'm your host Michael Bell with my co-host Shamira TK Henderson and Jacoby Sims. We're hanging out. The Black Filmmakers Now is where independent filmmakers, whether novice or professionals, come together to gain insight, perspective through education, information, and networking to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black interdependent film community. As we connect, make it happen. Once again, I'm Michael Melvin. You got Tamira TK Henderson, Jacoby Sims, and we are hanging out today. We like to say to y'all, good morning. It's been a rough start for all three of us, but we do what it is we do. We apologize. But, last time, technical difficulties. I don't know what it is we run into. We get back to our normal settings and everything changed. We had technical difficulties because we weren't in our normal settings. And everything changed. But we are back in each of our prospective homes. Actually, I will say I did like doing it live with Jacoby in the same location. But I was like, man, we should have went and sat in the living room and did it that way. And we could have had maybe 3 cameras on us. Because, I could have brought out the C70.
You would have fixed it all the way up.
Yeah, I was like, I could have just did the whole
We could have
thing.
had 4. I had my setup too.
Exactly. We could have been like boom, 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 and it would have been one of them shows.
It would have been a show about the setup of the camera.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes. I am not in my prospective home. I am still traveling. So.
Oh, yeah.
Where you at, TK?
I'm in Texas.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
back
why
where I look
you're originally from? Okay.
Yeah, taking care of family emergency. So excuse the yellowness because I am very, very yellow. Yellow.
You're yellow?
I am so yellow. That's why I was looking at the YouTube. I was like, am I yellow? I'm like, yeah, I'm yellow.
Let me give you some tint here. I'm gonna take
there
out
you go.
I'm gonna do the saturation removal.
TK is like, what brightness. The hell is going on?
Boom.
Well, I have to make. Well, the other thing is, so my mom is finally getting her house fixed from a flood, and so it's a shell.
Wow.
So basically, all the flooring is up. Yeah. So I was like, how am I gonna make this setup? So my mom, she was like, "Oh, just take this and do the table and put the thing." I was like, "I'll figure it out." So, but I am here.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are here. Let me do that the right way. I got to get on the quick draw here. All right. What y'all watch this week? Ladies first.
Yeah.
Well, since I wasn't here last week, I get to share what I watched. The Magical Society. What was the Society of Magical Negroes?
Oh, okay. How was that?
I watched Bob One Love.
Okay. How was that?
That was good. It was good. It was good, and I found out the guy that they used wasn't Jamaican, from another Jamaican who I saw in an interview. But it was kind of interesting how they told the story, but they didn't tell the story. So I know you watched it, Michael, right?
Not yet. We were supposed to go
I thought y'all
movies
went to
and
see it.
We didn't get a chance to.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bronx LT.
Did you see it, Jacoby?
No.
Okay. So there was one character that popped up in the movie that never said anything, never did any at a certain point. And I was like, I'm confused. So they showed her like 2 or 3 scenes just being present. So I had to go look it up to figure out who she was.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. So, but they never, but the way they introduced the relationship with his wife, I literally thought, I had to go Google it to figure out it was his wife until she said it later. And then I guess because of their dynamic, they break it down on why, give you kind of an explanation for the audience a little bit of why their dynamic was the way it was. So that's all I'm gonna say to that. But I did enjoy the movie because I learned stuff about Bob Marley and, so it was a really good movie. And the girl that played in Woman King, I forgot her name, but she's
I love her.
His wife Rita. Yeah. So she did a very, very, very good job because she did a very good job. A very, very good job. Both of them did. I saw the Freaknik documentary, which was very good.
Okay.
That was very good. And it was funny because I looked at something online, and I don't really read comments and stuff, but I kind of seen it, and somebody was like, "Oh, this was really good," and I put like, "Oh, great documentary. It was so good." And then I scrolled up, and it's like, "Heard it was trash. This, and that. Blah blah blah." I'm like, so you heard it was trash, so you want to comment on here that you heard it was trash. I got it. But I did get to watch Book of Clarence.
Okay, how was that?
Finally. Book of Clarence, I actually liked it. Now they used a couple of special effects towards the beginning, which I thought was kind of, I mean, it's not my film, but I was just like, the couple of effects they used, but they didn't really use special effects throughout the film like that. So I kind of thought that was interesting. But Lakeith, I think Tiana Taylor did an amazing job. Oh my God, she did amazing. And Lakeith, all the actors did great. I mean, really great. But Lakeith, I'm like, Lakeith. He did a phenomenal job. But he plays 2 parts in the movie. I'll just say that.
Okay.
He plays 2 parts. And the Society of Magical Negroes, the person I went with, which was actually Jalen, me and Jalen Daniels went, he was like, it's like we were watching 2 different movies. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
So when you see it, if you have any of you guys seen it yet?
No, not yet.
Not you guys. I'm talking to everybody else.
To the audience. My bad.
Yeah.
To the people. What's up, Lewis? How you doing?
Lakeith did play. Let me tell you. But Judas and the Black Messiah probably is gonna always be my favorite role for him. I'm like, the role he played with that internal struggle that we could see play out on screen in that movie. I think that's gonna always be my favorite role with him in it. But no, well, he kind of did, Lewis. He kind of did, but when you see how deep he goes into this character as the movie progresses, I literally was like, I was very impressed. I don't know why I was impressed because it's the key, but I was just like, wow. It's a little longer than it needs to because there's a lot of just extra talking. Some films just have extra, just to be extra. That's why I be like that. Look, you know me, Michael. I'm sharp. Look, both y'all know I'm sharp on dialogue. I'll cut that. I'll take the pen and cut it up because sometimes it's just talking, and when you're entertaining an audience, you don't want just a lot of talking. That's Magical Society of the Society of Magical Negroes. I was literally like, it was like 5-6 page scenes like throughout the movie of just 2 people just talking back and forth. I was like this.
And
I am not lying.
And I think that's the thing with certain actors, they just still come off like themselves. Because Lewis was like, but other than Judas, he plays himself. I mean, that's how it feels with some actors anyway.
You'll see, but yeah, he did like I said, he did play Lakeith. He played two characters. So in one character, you do see Lakeith, but then when, like I said, when he progresses into the character, he literally, like, you'll see it. You'll see it. That's all I can say. He did a very, very amazing job.
Well, Lakeith Stanfield is an interesting character to me because he's the typical black artist that you think of as an artist actor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The slow talking, real methodical, deep, reflective person that wears a lot of scarves with a pork pie hat or a little hat, right?
That's my goodness.
And I'm not saying that's who he is. It's just that's how he presents. And right. I don't know him from a can of paint, but it just seems all that pretentious. Like, well, so like, and it just talks deep. That's deep, just to be deep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's who he is, but I always say, well, they're always good actors because they're going to go as far as they can and talk about the metaphysical and everything.
They need to make sure they, and I was kind of disappointed with Judas and Black Messiah, and then I'll let you guys go. But how, they nominated him in one of the categories as the he was the main actor, and they gave him supporting actor nomination, and it was like Lakeith killed that role, and y'all as a main character, and y'all gave him supporting. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, no, we don't need certain entities to give us what we know, to tell us we're talented, to tell us we don't need certain entities. But it's like the point that when I do it and you do try to give me something, you kind of shit on me. You know what I mean? You kind of like, oh, well, yeah, it wasn't that important. Yeah, just, so it's like either don't give it to me at all or give it to me the way it's supposed to be given to me. That's all I have to say about it.
You would consider him a main character in Judas and the Black Messiah?
Yes.
Okay.
Lakeith was the main character.
Okay. I didn't see it that way, but I don't want to debate. I just didn't see it that way.
I didn't know anybody else did. I didn't think nobody else didn't. I automatically, when I seen it, I was like,
because he's the one telling the story. It's from his perspective.
It's from his perspective. It's his. He's telling. Yeah.
I got you. I was focused more on the Fred Hampton character.
Right. But
yeah, he's intriguing, but he wasn't like Michael said, the perspective and the story came from
You're right.
other
Now,
character.
I get you now that you say it that way, but the Fred Hampton character was more compelling to me, and so it drew more of my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be personal because from knowing the story beforehand, right? Knowing that and that's the sad part about bias, like your bias is I already didn't like the character, like I already.
Right.
I got you. I got you.
Because the story. Like if you actually see the documentary about it, and then because I saw that, and then there was one where they talk about it was the FBI agent or the CIA agent, and he does the documentary because he's in hiding, and he tells you everything he did in the black community that FBI and the CIA broke it down, treating us like terrorists and communists and so forth. And learning about us, like they use us to infiltrate us, and then they report back. So they destroyed theater houses and plays and authors and just institutions we were developing and building to get at us. I mean that type of awareness, many people of us should have. That's the sad part about the whole critical race theory thing. But I'd rather tell the truth, tell the story. What did you do to us? You still doing it. So what you did?
Yeah. So
still
what
doing
you watch? Because you'll have me labor on this. So what you watch, Mike?
Bad Batch, X-Men '97. Tiffany and I sat Sunday watch Freaknik documentary. It was interesting, but I knew some of it.
Okay.
I have no idea. I've never been there in my life. So, but yeah, there was events there. But the thing I liked about the Freaknik documentary, because I had told Tiffany, I said, you know, it was created by the DC Metro, the organization that was in Atlanta that came out of DC because they didn't want to go home. It was just too much traveling and money. You know, people don't have money like that. And then it also, there's many of them were members of the Greek organizations. So you had, because Freaknik was, I knew was like connected like that. And then you had the Greek picnic in Philly. And so those are those events that kind of started off in a real positive manner. I think Freaknik took the turn, and I like the documentary talking about it. And it's like the youth now are trying to recapture that, but you can't capture something like the difference between us, our Generation X. I'm gonna tell you, like straight up, Generation X is different, and we had, some of us had video cameras because I have college videos. I'm not gonna share a bunch of them, but I got college videos and stuff for dorm room parties. I was the guy with the video camera. But I'm not on camera. I'm behind the camera. That's how I am with filmmaking. But we didn't have cell phones. We weren't trying to record every moment. We were embracing every moment. That's what steps us apart, where these guys are constantly trying to capture something for social media. We don't care. We doing Throwback Thursdays and Flashback Fridays because we're going back in our pictures, our photo albums, and I got this from this win. We live the moment, where this youth today, they ain't living a moment. They're trying to advertise the moment.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Well, see,
advertise and yes, go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so
yeah, they didn't have cameras. I'm sorry, Derek. Yeah, I had pagers, but back then it was pagers.
I participated a lot in the Greek picnic, and I think the change where people are talking about rekindling those things aren't rekindling the essence of those events, right? And they're rekindling the exploited opportunities in those events. You know, because the Greek picnic was a fun event until a lot of other people saw how fun it was. And it changed the energy. Like, I was there and actually seen a girl get her top kind of pulled off.
Yanked off,
and like, and the only thing you could do to help her was push her through so she could keep going, right? And it normally wasn't the people who planned on attending the festival. It was people who wanted to be on the peripheral to see all the things from the outside. So, you know, because like
Freaknik.
Yeah, you would go to South Street and all the Greeks would converge on South Street. But then everybody else would converge and traffic would stop, and, you know, everybody with the flashy cars and all the other stuff. And it would be almost like a flash mob. Or Broad Street. Like, Broad Street was packed up. The park was crowded. But anyway, I'll diverse because we can talk about that for a long time.
Go back down memory lane.
The whole point of it is, like, a lot of times people are talking about, like, the Uncle Luke's events and all the other stuff. And, you know, the people who were there on the outside that weren't really, like Mike talked about, part of the essence of an event, to really have a lot of fun, and be there for a certain group of people at that time, and it outgrew its origin.
Yeah,
you know,
because Freaknik, as years progressed, you would hear it was something like, "Oh, Freaknik is this, it's wild and crazy." I'm like, But now you understand, because if you didn't attend in 95, 96 when it was getting crazy, going into 97, then that's something different, right? And I like the documentary really explained stuff, and you saw its history, and I think that's the thing about even what we create with film festivals, right? Black film festivals, there's an essence to it, and when people see that certain film festivals are really doing well, they exploit it. They want to be the exploiters. It's the same thing with film, right? Black exploitation, when you look at Dodomite, Sweet Badass, all these films that we were creating, when the others are like, we're missing money over here. It clicks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why, that documentary, again, documentaries like that give us something deeper to talk about, especially when it comes to our historical value and what we bring to a society. Because, what also changed Freaknik was the element, but the Olympics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They
were and they were talking about that. We had Kappa Beach Party in Texas. I never went,
yes.
but we had Kappa Beach Party. But the just one little plug here. So the very beginning of the documentary, that Scrub the Ground song "Come On" with Quavo and Young Miami, I actually worked crew on that video. Shoot, we did it in the underground. They did it. We did it in the underground, at the underground, and they recreated Freaknik '96. So they recreated that whole thing. Yeah.
Oh wow! And hold on, Quavo and Young Miami redid that song.
They did Scrub the Ground. So when the it's called Scrub the Ground. So
I know what the song is. I hate them for that. That's a song that plays back in my memories because that's my era. I know. Scrub the ground. Come on now, scrub the ground.
Oh yeah, you talking about with Luke? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah,
and now they redid it.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Scrub the ground.
As Sam Jackson would say, they should burn in hell.
So it was a fun video shoot, but they recreated we recreated Freaknik '96 because I did some work on there. I did some work on the video.
And and I say like those. Oh, so I watched some of the stuff that you watched, but I want to say this last point. That's when I just joined my fraternity in '94, and so that is like those memories are like cemented, because you're like open to this whole new world. Like it's like the curtain is pulled over. You know what I mean? It's like you're behind the veil, I would say. Anyway, I still got my shirt on, my frat shirt, January 19th, 1914. But anyway, I watched The Bad Batch also.
Okay.
I love X-Men 97. But I'm also watching Will Trent.
So I watched one episode of Will Trent.
Yeah, Will Trent is good. Will Trent is like, I was trying to think of the guy to tell you, but I watch him too. So Will Trent is like I think they're all on the spectrum now. We will call them on the spectrum.
Castle, Monk.
Yes, Castle, Monk. So you would think he got like Asperger's or some kind of autistic thing on the spectrum, but he has a unique history, and his unique history is told through this series, so I'm not telling you.
Mm-hmm. But he's a crime drama. Okay.
Yeah.
But to me, he's hilarious. Like his reactions to everything are hilarious. So I love it. I love Will Trent. I'm watching the I binged the first season, and I'm watching the second season. And the end of the first season is crazy. Crazy.
Bronx LT said, yeah, the first season was cool. Gave me Monk vibes. And I think we talked about this before, was the storytelling from a different mental perspective when you look at like movies like The Accountant, where he is autistic and he's at a high spectrum of autism, and he's an assassin and an accountant, and he's just wrecking stuff. But that's I think those types of movies, because was it Denzel that played the lawyer that was not suffered but had a mental disorder? Or
I didn't get to see that. Was it Roman or
Roman something? I want to say Roman Pierce, but it wasn't Roman Pierce. Okay. But like, I think those types of stories, and it was based on true story, true events, and so that's the phenomenal thing about characters to me is when we start tapping into how people would function if they were living or dealing with something. It's what we talked about before with Jack Nicholson, As Good as It Gets, right? OCD.
Right.
And so I really like those types of movies, because Forrest Gump is one of those types of movies. Right? So when it goes over to like the shows like The Good Doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to embrace it as a community, as a Black community, to want to tell those stories, because we're different. We're all different people, and different stories give us insight into how people might see the world. Imagine if you wrote a film and your character's colorblind and they don't see certain colors, and they got to solve a crime or something. What would they be able to deal with? Like when you think about Christopher Nolan, Memento, there's another one where the guy has to write down. There's one coming out with, I think Michael Keaton, where he's losing his memory because he's have dementia, and he's a hitman. He's an assassin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so those are the factors that make stories to me good, because that introducing that type of element changes perspective and gives perspective. You know, it definitely leads us to, because again, for me, filmmaking, as I always said, it's wrapping paper. The stories are still basic. It's how you wrap the story. And so you got to change the wrapping paper. And sometimes people get too complacent and they keep wrapping some of their films in newspaper, some of their films with the comics, and then other people spend the money and get the fancy wrapping, but then the story has no depth to it because they haven't developed anything into the character. So
or they just remake somebody else's old.
Well, that's all everybody's doing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like Scrub the Ground.
Like we read Save the Cat and all these other there's no new stories. You got the buddy cop films we've all been seeing growing up with, like 48 Hours and Bad Boys. It's just how they wrap it. Lethal Weapon.
Fish Out of Water.
Yeah, it's
coming of age.
I'm talking about the remakes, like the remake. They're remaking Good Times, like as a cartoon.
I know.
Oh,
no, they're not remaking. No, it's not a remake. It's a continuation in an animated format where you see the descendants of the Evans, one of the kids, one of Thelma's kids.
And she's still in the projects?
He's still in the project.
Have you guys seen that trailer?
My dad didn't like us watching Good Times. He's like, they never moved. I can't stand stuff like that. Like, that's how he was. He was like, we move up. Like, you know, my dad come from Southeast DC. My mom is from the country. They dealt with being struggle. And they're like, no, but when we struggle, we fight and we move up. He said the reason he didn't like Good Times is it never showed the move, the progression. Because he said they were fighters, so why didn't they progress?
Because something always happened. Remember you got the NFL contract, bust his knee, then James died. It was always something.
But they couldn't give us a break because you got other stuff like the Jeffersons moved up.
Yeah. But they moved up in a more comedy aspect to be an antagonist.
Oh, really, Darwin? I was like, hey, Darwin. I was, when I seen the trailer, I just said, I'm not the audience. And I just moved on with my life, you know?
I ain't even watched the trailer. I ain't got time.
You haven't watched the trailer? I'm going to send it to you right now.
No, don't you dare. Because that's like
my
me
joke.
listening to Scrub the Ground by Quavo and Young Miami.
I love my fellow filmmakers and people, but listen, y'all are the greatest forms of advertisement on this planet. When y'all don't like something, y'all give it everything you got. You give it more than the things you like. I'm so sorry. Because every time I see somebody post the Good Times thing and talk about how bad they don't like it, I'd be like, well, then why are you posting it? You know how many views
I don't post it. I'll just add, I don't,
no, you know me. I don't, people are giving them views. Like, if you don't like it, don't say, hey, I ain't feeling Good Times, and move on. That way it dies. But now you're birthing it because other groups of people are going to be like, well, why don't they like it? Let's find out. And then they're going to watch every single episode, and it's going to have 28, 38 million views, 100 million views, 100 million views. And you're going to be like, I can't understand that.
I think for Good Times, the trailer's going to have 18 million views. And
thank you, Derek.
The first episode is going to have 10 million views, and the the second episode is going to have like 1 million. That's
no, the views are going to progress on all the episodes. I'm telling you. Let's be real. When people complain about Tyler Perry, the views went up. Listen, if you don't like somebody, stop giving it air to breathe.
Listen, I'm going to say this. I don't care what anybody says about Tyler Perry. He doesn't care what anybody says about him. He speaks to his base, and that's all that he's worried about. And so I'm going to leave this go. I'm not watching that daggone trailer. And TK, if you text it to me, you're going to be left on red. I mean,
whatever iPhone do, I don't know when you don't read the message on iPhone because I'm team Android. But anyway, I just said, but you know what? All I said was, like you said, I'm not the audience, and I moved on. Of course, we're on the Black Filmmakers Lounge, so I'm mentioning it. But it's, like Chris was like, oh, I need to check it out. Derek said it's only our culture that does this.
I'm telling you.
I'm tired. No, how do you know if you ain't sitting in the other groups? Like most people don't sit. If they in one group, they don't sit in the other groups.
No,
I said most people.
Oh, I see.
And stop saying it's only us. Stop saying it's only us.
Well, no, Derek. I mean, Jacoby. Derek has a point. If you I join different film groups, and I sit back, and I see the difference in the Black filmmaker groups and the other groups, and I just be like, we waste so much time and energy. These jokers. That's why they're making movies.
Well, it's. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna keep it. Now, this is a good discussion. I'm gonna be honest on this one because TK is kind of quiet. I'm gonna let her speak.
Oh no, I'm listening. I'm just watching Derek say I do. So Derek's saying he does too. So when Derek and Michael both sit in these other communities.
When you sit and you look in those communities, right? Mm-hmm. You look in those filmmaker communities. Now look at the true filmmaking education, because there's a lot of generational knowledge that's not passed down in our community. And so when we start talking about, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that creates that kind of culture. It's not like we just wake up and we're just, because hold on. Let me say this one thing. The one thing that people are creating and projecting is the crab in the barrel mentality of Black folks in general, because that is part of the same conversation. And so I do get frustrated because you do expect the rhetoric to be different. You do, because the knowledge base is different. The access to the equipment is new. The opportunity to tell those stories and understand how the industry works. Like when we're sitting here, Mike, and I sit with you, like I learned so much when you talk about the industry, and I get to share it with children and kids. Like how many film teachers in high school look like us, right? How many, like, exactly. And I have a kid that is I have a student right now that's graduating from Arizona Film School. It's a white kid, right? Mm-hmm. He comes back to share. We don't have a lot of those networks initially that go to bring back the knowledge. And a lot of our indie filmmaker group is filmmakers who haven't made their first film or just made their first film, that don't even have any film school or even media school, comm school training, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to expect the rhetoric to be different. You know what I mean? When you sit back, and there's a 15-year-old kid right now, there's a 15-year-old kid in certain communities that by the time he's 18, he's going to have a job either working for a sports team shooting or because his dad is there, or he's been on sets. You know, it's like, so like, give us a break. Give us some grace. We don't have enough grace for each other.
No, I give us grace, but here's what I'm going to say. We instead of, I'll be real, man. When I'm in the groups, that's our groups, except for our group, because we don't allow it. We shut it down quickly. The gossiping, the more energy on a negative space, or what people like or don't like, the heavy business talk, like watch mine, instead of building the network and community, because that's what I'll be real. In some, in other film groups, some people might talk about their film, but they really don't. They'll talk about something they went and shot and share it and talk about the camera and the lighting and stuff like that. Like they'll get into that type of stuff. But
that's good.
If they don't like something, it doesn't even get like a big enough post. It's like, yeah, me neither. Let's move on. And then boom, hey, what do you think about this camera? That's why in the group, they're talking about the Black Magic cameras, right? Yesterday.
Yeah.
Like in the Black groups, I might have saw one post.
But wait, hold on. Now this is what I'm talking about is the difference in those groups, right? Now look at our group, right? Most of us have either been in the game for a while, had experiences, and also learned from others, right? When I used to shoot short films in Philadelphia with we'll say a drug dealer who's trying to make some money and trying to change or legitimify and use his leverage to get it, and he gets a homie with no real film experience and they shoot movies. I'm a threat on set to them because they don't understand collaboration and networking in that way, right? And so those are the groups a lot of times that, or it's just a kid, a guy, an adult who used to be an accountant, got a couple extra dollars and wants to do a film. I'm gonna give you an example. On the last film I told you that I hated shooting, the guy told me he didn't respect my film advice because he used the because I was the camera guy. He didn't respect my advice on the film or the script, right? And that's because of his lack of experience, lack of knowledge, and lack of understanding. And we have a lot of groups with a lot of people trying to build, and when they see a black film group, they look about what I can take from it, not what I can give to it, because they lack that experience, right? And so and so it's not as a lot of times when you see these groups, they don't have the leverage of the knowledge and the experience and the people to bring them up. I can sit here and tell you a bunch of film guys that sat in my room. I damn near re-edited and colored the film and didn't get one credit. Not one.
Okay, so I want to attest to this.
Hold on, and I'll say, let me leave. I didn't get mad because I didn't think he understood all the work I did. Because you get a person that says a 30-second commercial, $700, that's a lot of money.
It's not.
Right? And so they don't understand. Or I give you my wife when we first started dating, and I'm like, yo, I want this camera. It's $6,000. She's like, that's a lot of money. Right? And every time I bought some equipment, until she starts seeing the prices of equipment, realizing like I get a used lens and it costs $2,000.
Dang.
Right? And so as they learn, they appreciate. And so there's a lot of things that they need to be taught and understand and be on set, because some people, even when you look at kids in the filmmaking business, like when I'm teaching my students, right? Shot list, I don't want to do a shot list. I'm gonna go out and shoot.
Right? No, I get the same thing. I get and so you got people who want to cut corners, and that's what I call it.
But because their lack of knowledge, though, and so we
but
gotta grow the platform.
When I'm giving you knowledge, though, I have a problem. Like my wife is from New Orleans, and the first thing she said, there is no knowledge deficit. My wife grew up in the hood, like, and they went to the library. They did. She said, "There's no knowledge deficit. You have to have the desire to want it." And you're talking, like I tell my wife all the time, you need to write a book or make a movie about some stuff. She's had a life. Like that stuff. So when we talk about it, to me, we get trapped in being comfortable of not knowing. When we have the internet, we can find anything we want now. We can go get, we have a show, the Black Filmmakers Lounge. We talk about everything people need to know or should know from our experiences, from our encounters. We bring people on that share theirs and their insight. And the first thing I keep telling everybody about joining a film group, stop trying to promote your film in a group. It's like going to a convention, and I get what people are saying, well, where else do you promote it? That means, to me, when you are in a film group trying to promote your movie, and you're going extra hard all the time trying to promote your movie in a film group, and the problem is you don't know your audience. Because that's like going to a shoe convention and trying to sell shoes to other shoe salesmen. Everybody got a movie. The reason we're in this group is we all got movies or we all making movies. Now, I get it. We can watch it, and I would probably watch it. But half the time, no one wants to build the rapport or the relationship to make the connection. It's just like, here.
I'm going to say this. Where I agree but disagree. And I tell you where we split at. People don't know what they don't know. Right? And so you may be learning, but don't know there's so many other gaps. And I'm gonna give you an example for me personally. When I first started making films, right? I ain't think about no damn target market. I didn't think about my niche. I was just happy as hell the film was done. I didn't have a plan. I didn't think of anything. And then my friend said to me, yo, man, you wasting our time and money because you too cavalier about the project. And I was like, what you mean? Like, almost like I took offense. And then when he broke it down and explained to me, I clearly understood. And sometimes, you know, it takes a lot for people to get to the points where things make sense. Because, like, I love to work, but like, you ever hear, it's two things that I learned. And I got a friend, his name is Wally Pitt. He works for HBCU Game Day with me. Mm-hmm. It was two things he said to me. He said, bro, he said, you chase two birds, you got none. And then he said, is the juice worth the squeeze? Right? Mm-hmm. And so when you look at, sometimes I didn't realize, one, I was working too hard to do nothing or have nothing. Right? And I'm saying it because some people don't know what they don't realize it because they get caught up in being busy or making a film instead of all the things a film needs. And then number two, am I putting in too much work, right? Mm-hmm. Then what I'm going to get out of it. And so with all of these things, that's for me the lack of knowledge. I had to sit back and process. A lot of times in the beginning stages, people don't have that knowledge. And if they're not around the right people, like it's a blessing for me to be with TK, right? Because I sat to talk through a script with TK. I never got to talk through a script with somebody before of my own volition, right? And TK had time, and I was like, I just want it done. She's like, no, you got to have it this, and you got to have it this, and you got to have it that. But then then I sit back and I'm like, oh, shucks. Wow. That's the missing part of what makes a character, not just a person on screen.
Right. I can agree with some of that. But
hold on, let me come back.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me come back to you. And then my other blessing is you, Michael. Right? We sit and talk about business, and I talk about things I've done. You'd be like, I wouldn't have did that. I would have did blah, blah, blah. I don't play that. Letting them, because this is why I waste my time and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, shucks. So now when somebody offers me, or I have an issue with somebody, or somebody offers me $700, I'm not like, yeah, I'm going to do the commercial. I'm going to just do it because I'm going to do it. You're like, no, bro. No, that's not enough, and I got other things I could be doing. But people don't understand that yet when they're caught up in this business. Because, like, film is all-encompassing. It's business, right? Project management, understanding equipment, your artisan, being an artisan. Like, it's all these things all packed up into one. And sometimes people just get caught up in saying, I have a story, and I want to get from A to B.
Right.
Right? And then they're in a market sometimes. Like, you look at Tyler Perry. They appreciate him as a storyteller. They love him. But as an artisan, a lot of times it sucks to us because I'm a camera and editor, right? I'm a DP and editor. So I look at certain things. You're like, yo, what? Most of his movies are flat. They're not really shot with dramatic lighting. You know what I mean?
The last one
they're good. I didn't see the last one, but I'm just saying in general, right? Mm-hmm. Most of them are flat lighting. The only shot I can remember is Why Did I Get Married, when he takes that steady cam shot and he walks through the whole house. In the beginning, he follows through the argument and that was one of the most technical things Tyler Perry has done. But I can't what can I say to Tyler Perry, right? What can I say to him when he's made enough art to build himself a studio?
Okay.
Right?
I guess.
Because my critiques will fall on deaf ears because it's like, I made money.
Okay, and that is true. Like the objective, this is why I ask that one question every time. Why do you make films? Or why do you want to make films? Because if you answer that, it helps you really understand perspective. I know I'm a storyteller. I come from doing spoken word, doing music, to filmmaking and stuff, like, and doing art. I do all those things. I tell my stories that way. But while I was doing that as a kid, the first thing I was taught is if you want to be in indie industry, you need to search it. You need to learn about it. And I attribute that to my dad, because when I told him I wanted to be in the music industry, he said, you need to learn everything about the industry before you get in it. And I did that with everything else. Yeah, it's a blessing, because the fact that my dad sat there and said that to me, and this guy knew nothing about that, but he went to the library, he picked up books on the music, And he was like, here, you need to read this. Here, the business of music. Here, you need, and so, but everything as I progress, and I'm a kid, you gotta think I'm like, when he buy me that book, I'm probably like 8th grade when he's having this conversation with me. And I'm gun ho, but I had 2 parents. My mom was an entrepreneur, and her thing was, any business you go in, you learn the business. You don't, if you don't know the business, this is how people know you don't know the business, how they gonna take you. My mom said when she was offered a deal, my mother, you had a desktop publishing and resume service in Columbia, Maryland. Sears offered her $1 million for her company. Me doing what I did, we had a family talk. I said, don't sell it because they're offering you pennies on what the true value is.
Now I'm gonna say something to you, right? Mm-hmm. Do you even realize how unique your upbringing was?
I am somewhat unique.
I tell him that all the time,
Jacoby. Tells me,
hold
I
on,
had
let
parents
me
who
wait, but so that affects your viewpoint on what you're doing. I didn't have none of that. And I always wanted to be a filmmaker. And you know how I got started? This is the legit, I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna give you a long story and short. And if I'm getting too long, people shut him up in the chat. No, I'm talking to the people in the chat. So I actually was and nobody knows this, but most people don't know this, but I was in the Arts Magnet School in Harrisburg for theater.
Okay.
And when my first experience, I got to do a game show with the TV people in the same building.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Right.
So then I was on TV. This is around 85, 84, because they used to record it and put it on the WHYY in Harrisburg at the time. We would do a whole reading and everything. But then they said I don't think the teacher liked me much because I didn't come to school often. She said so she didn't recommend me to come back because I didn't come to school often. But I didn't know I could switch into the program I really wanted to be in after freshman year, which was the TV. So I went to high school and because I liked playing with stuff, I became a computer programmer. I was doing video games and stuff in Cobalt and Basic in high school.
Okay.
I go to college, I go into computer programming. Nobody talks to me about communications. I don't have my mom didn't go to college. I didn't have a lot of people who understood majors in college or anything. And my wrestling coach said, I want you to be an education major, but I want to do computers because I like gadgets.
Mm-hmm.
I get in there, the computer teacher, in my mind, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. The computer teacher was a daggone, he liked the girls more than he liked the guys. And he was difficult. But it was math class. And he was going to be my other computer programming teachers. So I switched to education. Nobody ever told me I could switch into communications or anything, right? I end up like Van Wilder, spend a couple extra years in college.
Yeah.
When I graduate, my professor, Mr. James Fleming, who's still a good friend of mine, love him to this day, also taught me some things about being a man. He gave me a Mac before they had the Blueberry Macs. He gave me a Mac to use in the summer. And I was supposed to pay him a few, but I fooled around and didn't pay him. I had traded it in and got a Blueberry Mac. He said, if you don't give me my money, give me the computer back. I had a girlfriend that was a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
I took the computer back to him because I didn't give him the money, right? But he still was a mentor to me. Think about how deep that is.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I still have his phone number. Actually, I'm going to text him today because I love him to death. He let me coach his son in wrestling, everything. And so when I graduated, I got my first titanium Mac because I never left after having a Mac once. And it wasn't even a colored Mac that people are talking about. You know, I go back with Mac when it was tan. And you had dial-up. And then I get a titanium Mac on the brown market. I had a friend that got me a Mac at a discounted rate. I paid for it. Now I don't know where he got it. And I had to shoot it. And I had to shoot the step show for the Greek picnic. I had to shoot the intro for the step show and edit it at my house.
Wow.
And okay, so
ever since then. But I'm just telling you, look at the different journey. And there's some people's that's faster, slower,
Our
anything.
journeys are very similar though, because I didn't.
But
I
you know
wasn't
what you
into
got?
film.
You
Like
got the
in
jewels
school.
though. See, you
Yeah, I
listen,
did
you
get
got a
jewels.
whole bunch of jewels.
I
You
I
got
didn't
got a
have
lot of
that.
jewels.
like I got
Yes.
business because I had like my parents, and this is what I tell people: our parents don't know what they don't know, and I agree with you on that aspect because
Yes.
my parents and I often bump heads as I got older because my dad was like, go in the military, get a job, and get a 401k or a pension and this and that, right? And but the thing he kept, because he told me don't go to school for communications. I said, well, I'm paying for it. So I'm going to do whatever I want to do because I got to pay for it. And that was the thing. Like, I don't argue with you, the money coming out my pocket and I ain't spending your money. Like, there's nothing we can discuss. And I love my parents dearly. But I knew since the 6th grade, I wanted to be in the media industry, whether it was as a rapper when I did my album, as a writer, but I didn't know, I didn't have the tools to get to it. So when I was in high school, I took an entrepreneurship, introduction to business class. I took business law. All this. So I took things about business because the one thing I knew about all these things it's business. Like,
Hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for interrupting you.
No,
but
go ahead.
The part for that I keep, like, our journeys may look the same.
Right.
But Mike, do you keep throwing these things that give you a different perspective than a lot of people, even about learning about the business. Like, my mom didn't have
your
time to tell me.
The foundation.
Right.
No disrespect. My mom was a hardworking woman, but she raised 4 kids, by herself, right? Worked at the mall at times. Sometimes we was on welfare in the projects, right? I didn't get those jewels that you're talking about. My mom wasn't an entrepreneur. She was entrepreneur, and she was a hustler. She was a hardworking woman. You know what I mean? And I love my mama. I'm still a mama's boy and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? And then my grandmother, like you said, those old people, but they weren't. My grandmother worked at the Lipton Noodle Factory. So once a month, I would get a big old carton of noodle whether it was soup, dried noodles, or sun-kissed, the grapefruit, the fruit things, the fruit twists or whatever, right? So I didn't have, and then when I was in college, right, I was an athlete. I learned from some of the other young men, but they didn't explain all those things. And then education, they don't talk about business. They talk about love. Love these kids, know this knowledge, share it, right?
And you know what?
So
I think that's our issue in our community. Because my parents, they struggled, but they were finding ways to get out. Like, my dad told me the military paid him $100 a month. I was like, wait, what? I could never fathom making $100 a month. But my dad, his offset, he worked at a movie theater. And my mom drove a school bus. She did hair. What I'm saying? Our parents had their different struggles, but we did learn things from them, but they didn't even know because they were like, work for the government. My parents were like, it was the government that got them associate's degrees.
It was a different time though. Like when you talk, like even now, I got my kids. And I got to sometimes talk to their mother. We got to prepare them for jobs that aren't even here yet. But that wasn't a thought back then. And so when you here's the funny thing when I listen to you talk, Mike, right? This is the funny part. We just sat here and talked about how they destroyed the Black communities intentionally, right? And you forget that there are exceptional ones that were able to be away from that or get away from that. But then there's a large group that didn't survive that, right? And so when you talk about knowledge, some of those people we're talking about in those film groups are children of those people that didn't escape, right? Because listen, I'm 52, Mike, and I'm just learning some things that these kids at 20 or that other kids that are of a different learn at 15 or 20 or all these other things, or if their parents are in a different situation for whatever reasons. And it's not saying all rich. Sometimes they might have somebody they work for that had a little bit, or like my wife's mom worked at a bank, so she understood how to save and how that worked and the whole. So she's able to pass that knowledge down to her kids. But other things she couldn't share. So like that's the thing when I'm talking about that generational knowledge doesn't hit, and so I can't sit and look at everybody like from what I know from my perspective, because there's a kid out there right now that's dealing with generational trauma, that's going to pick up a cell phone, and make some art without having any knowledge. And when you tell him he needs to write a shot list, he's going to say, I'm not doing all that. It's too much work. I'm going to get it from the muscle, because that's all he knows, and that's what's been successful for him. And so to criticize him or downplay it, since he didn't have a good mentor or had exposed to the game in those kind of ways, right, is wrong to say, well, see, that's what's the problem with all these black kids. They don't even know how to write shot lists and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's like that for a lot of the kids until they get in the game or get a mentor, and all these other things.
I'm looking at it more as, when I get in a room of somebody who I recognize knows as much or is more than me, or is aware of things I'm not aware of, I'm willing to listen. And I think that's my battle with some of us is I'm doing it my way, and I'm not going to stare any other way, or I'm not going to listen to the person. As opposed to, knowledge is knowledge. Like, I remember being asked, if you could sit in a room with anybody in the Bible outside of Jesus, who would it be, right? I said Solomon. Solomon was given wisdom. That's where you want to get that wisdom. If to me, understanding and knowing information and knowing how to apply it makes all the difference for us. What I find is we can tell a lot of our people, not everybody, but a good enough of our people, something, and they still want to cut corners. They still want to circumvent, or they don't want to pay the money, or they don't want to, because I remember somebody said, unfortunately for us, we don't have the money when we start, but when we mess up, make mistakes to go fix it, we automatically start finding the money, and it costs more to do that.
True indeed. But I'm going to say this, but the thing is, we keep laboring. Like, here's the thing. We keep laboring the black community, and people think they're in other communities, right? But I'm going to say this, right? When we could talk about immigrants, from the rich immigrants to the poor immigrants that immigrated into our country. And people always say, when the immigrants get here, I'm going to tell you this, right? For an immigrant to get to America, which is right, makes them already different. Right. You act like there's no dumb Nigerians, there's no dumb Indians, there's no dumb Chinese or Japanese. But when they get to America, right, the Asians are super smart, or the ones that get here are different, right? Indians, different, because for them just to get to America makes them different. They're not sitting at home. Because if you go over and you sit in all these other countries, right, you're going to see the ones that look like my man on the corner. They got crime. We just live in the crime. And the problem is, our close proximity to our own kind gives us the harshest judgment of our own.
Okay.
Right? And so when you sit there, like when I go to, I'm trying to think, now that I'm at HBCUs, right? And people talk about donations, giving back to the college, right? On per capita, right? African Americans already don't make the same amount of money. Large is disproportionate. We talk about that all the time, right? So even if we donated like they donate, it still wouldn't be the same amount, right? And so our schools would be underfunded. And I think people don't look at all those things in a perspective. They look at their proximity, their judgment, and all these other things. Like, I give you another. We talk about indie short film, right? Right now, and most people, especially when they're upper middle class, understand that college is about networking, right? Okay. Can we agree? Most people with middle class and lower think about changing their life status, thinking about shifting from lower class to middle class, or middle class to upper class when they go. So when your family talks to you when you're in middle school, or when your family in middle class or lower class talk to you about going to college, they always frame it in getting a better job, getting a good job, and all these other things, right? So when you frame these situations, it's the same thing in the film community, right? Not necessarily the same arguments, but they don't understand how now when I got a good network of friends or people, they're my resource now. But a lot of times people are holding this or hiding this, or only not wanting to get this, and then they wonder why but they don't even have a gate to keep. They're just they think they look at it as a threat, and it's not. It's they don't know, and they hear, like, when you hear about Hollywood and all these other things and the crooks in Hollywood, and then you always get one guy in the black community, sometimes, there's always one who says he's connected, right? And tries to steal your stuff. No, literally, because I had a guy.
No, I know. Yeah.
I had a guy. I shot a we had a reel. I had a reel on DVD. Guy takes a copy of the DVD, takes the commercial and everything to get jobs.
Shut up.
And how this is how we found out. There was a friend of mine who knew my work that was in the meeting. Saw the work.
Shut. I'm so done. I'm so done.
But
Right?
and then that's the thing, because that's the cutting corners I'm talking about for me, right? Is that people come in.
You don't think
you and I had the same experience on the commercial. The guy comes to me, he's like, "Hey, how much is the commercial?" I told him $800. That's too much. What do you mean that's too much? I broke it down for him. I said, "Listen, I'm giving you a discount. I'm actually giving you a little legitimate discount. I'm gonna shoot your commercial for $800, edit it, put it together for you, all that stuff. I have equipment, all this. It costs more than that $800, but I'm trying to help you out." Then I explained it to him. I break it down. After that, he turns around and says, "It's still too much. 800 is so much. It's cheap. It shouldn't even cost that much." And I'm like, how do you tell? You're hiring me for a skill, not for my equipment, not for anything, but something I'm very knowledgeable about. I said, "How much do you plan on spending?" $200.
But that tells you right there. That tells you he doesn't understand all this stuff. And now with all these people with DSLRs and everything that just make videos, they don't understand the difference. And this is not solely a black thing. Go find yourself some real customers of a different hue. Go find yourself an Asian customer or Indian customer, and then talk to me about how they haggle you or what they think your prices should be. Right? See, people don't go outside their circle. Now you talk about that same thing. Go deal with the other one, because now when you find some of those other ones that you deal with, they might have the expectation, but their expectation, okay, where's your reel? I need to see this, and this, right? So their quality control before you even get there is different.
Yeah, you send over the reel.
Right.
Like I even ask people, "Have you seen my work? Have you seen the reel? You need to see it beforehand." You know, I send that up.
That's
when
a whole
TK and
different
I
story.
worked together, before TK and I totally started working together, even we knew each other before we started working together. But when I said, "Hey, guys, I want you to write a script," first thing TK did is, "I'm gonna shoot you over some script examples of my work." I knew she meant business. And that's how I look at stuff, is when I can come into a room and I say, "I need this." When I went and met with people, when I had my other company, I would show them my work. But even then, people would still want to try to lowball you. And unfortunately, they look like us who was doing it. But here's the thing. Like I said, I get it. It's all about the circles you're going into and the different people. And I'm not going to negate that. Like I said, I'm a teacher for a reason. I want to empower my students that they have a head start when they're already behind. Because we were behind. My white counterparts who were wanted to be filmmakers, their parents could afford a video camera. They could send them to some type of workshop or summer camp. We didn't even know about that stuff existed. We went to the pool and we played basketball and football. That's summer. I went to summer camp once and I was like, and it's supposed to be an acting camp, but everybody was black and we weren't acting. We were playing football. Nothing that was supposed to happen happened. And I didn't even realize this till I was old. Like, wait, we didn't even do none of this stuff we should have been doing that they're doing. And I get it, but the problem is when we run into a situation in our communities where you got people who do know stuff and they're trying to be shady. That leaves a bad taste for a lot of different people.
Now I'm gonna say this too. Like, there's two parts, right?
Sorry,
one,
TK.
some of those people. Go ahead, TK. You got your finger up. I'm sorry.
I want to jump into these comments. So go ahead, Jacoby, and give us the two parts, and then I want to get into these comments.
Okay. So I was going to relate to Daryl, because what he said he looked at mentoring, he reached out for mentoring, blah blah blah.
Oh, Darrell.
Darrell. I'm sorry. And so I say that it's not just black, it's white. Like, I reached out when you reach out people and ask for stuff, right? Sometimes that, a lot of times, because mentoring is relational. You got to find a way to find somebody you can build a relationship with and offer as well as take, right? Because like I got there's a NFL. I worked at NFL Films. There's one of my classmates who now shoots, like, makes money, shoots out in California. He was a classmate at NFL Films when I was an intern, right? He kept going. I had 2 kids, had to stop. So when I got back in the game, I hit him up. He sent me a text with a few questions. I ain't answered those questions. As soon as I went for more, he like stopped almost. And guess what? He ain't the same color as me, right? And so the thing is, sometimes it's their time and what do you have to offer? Can you go? Can you like say, look, I'll be a PA for free, right? Some are going to take that, some are not. It depends on relationships. And that's one thing that we don't talk about is really building relationships, because even when you talk about the Black community, a lot of times, now this is not a Black, but it's, and this is, sometimes people get Black and poor mixed up, right? When you talk about it, most of the communities that like the community I grew up in is collaborative, but also adversarial. You always checking to see who's trying to burn you. It ain't just about, and people don't give freely. You know what I mean? That's a normal thing, because that when you grow up in the projects, when you grow up in cities, a lot of times everybody's scraping for little bits here and there, trying to figure out where to go, and it's not always collaborative. And you could talk about any industry and people make it about Black people, but if you go anywhere, a lot of times it's about poor, right? And then sometimes when you're talking about areas that are undereducated, right? I'm not saying that the kids aren't intelligent. The area is intentionally undereducated, right? And then you can get into school systems and anything. And so when you just say it's a guy on the panel, oh, I'm gonna reach out to you for mentoring. I don't even know you, Jack, right? I can share some knowledge, but how much? I don't know you, Jack, right? When do I get on the set, build a relationship with somebody? One of my mentors became my best friend. He's a godfather to one of my children because we worked together often. And he seen that I really was serious, and then he started to partake knowledge, because you realize a lot of times these people reaching out, they just want something from you. That's not a mentor. If I'm just taking something from you, if I just give you knowledge, I'm not your mentor. What I am is your human encyclopedia. And I think people need to understand what mentorship really is, because they reach out and they ask for mentorship and don't get what they want. And now, oh, he sucks. But then there's some dudes that try to set you up, like, some people out there, no Diddy, you know what I mean? That bring you in. No, I'm serious.
No, I know.
And they want to bring you in for audition or to see your work, and they're asking for other stuff. There's creeps in every industry, white or Black, any race, any of that, and it's proven. So when we always keep saying our community, there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of mistakes and a lot of mischaracterization and representation that we pass on the label that Black people are crabs in a barrel. And that is a trigger for me. So I'm sorry if I extended on this, but I truly believe that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
So
that's my speech. That's
no, you good.
That's also my 60 seconds.
Okay, I'm gonna get my 60 seconds too. Okay, I want to dig into these comments real quick. Eric, hang around because we want to address your question. Thomas said, "We create what we see and live unless we're connected to a higher power that we can draw from inspiration." And that is my whole writing life right there. And then Thomas also said, "One life, love what you do because you love what you do, or what you do because that's all you have been told to do, only that." And I think that goes back to when you were talking about being in college and stuff, Jacoby. He also said, "You only have one life to live, so do what you love, and that gives meaning to your life, or what you told and die empty and disappointed. Either way, it's your journey, so find the way you best you can." And then Tone, hey Tone, good to see you. Tone was talking about where'd it go? She said she agreed with Jacoby about learning the process. The same way, Jacoby, was a learning process about shooting your first film, how you went out and gunned it and stuff, and got it done. Derek, you said, "I promote in film groups. your movies in certain film
In
groups.
certain
The
groups.
difference between what I get, but here's the difference. I think, Derek, between you and maybe someone else, you're willing to give knowledge.
Yeah.
You're willing to. I can say, hey, Derek, can I have Thomas call you because he has some questions about contracts or for the streaming service, and you are willing to give and share. That is a difference. When I go in and start promoting, hey, I got this movie, or I got this movie, or not win, but I do that, I do have some movies. But it's like when I go in and do that, but like you said, but anybody can call me and get a whole consultation or 2 hours worth of free knowledge easily from me. You know what I mean? Because I'm willing to share and give back. So I'm not just, it's not a selfish thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not a selfish thing. So Derek, that's what I know about you. So you can promote all day long because you are willing to give, and also, it's a give and take. You're not just in there promoting, you're also, giving knowledge and trying to help other people. So I wanted to say that. And then I saw, Darrell agreed about, my family didn't know anything about the film industry. They didn't think it was possible until I did it. A lot of us are the first ones. You're exactly right. My grandma keeps saying, "What do you do again, baby?"
Yeah.
And Darrell, you already posted his other question. Then Darrell also said, that's what I meant by going to other places. I did by mentorship, by following it, volunteering. Yes, at film festivals, screenings, and workshops. A lot of my mentors are now people I met or virtually, and that's the other thing. Like we just said, the same thing, just full circle of what I said about not being selfish. It's like I'm not here to gain. I mean, I need, but if I can, I would like to help you in the process. So, and then back to Eric's question. So Eric was asking the question, what is the solution to solving the negative trend you identified? And this probably is going to be our 60-second jewel right here. Eric, from me, what I did is I knew there were not any preteen movies. I wrote a movie called Camp Wanna Poo Poo that's actually in development right now. I have some producers that are actually developing it. But I wrote it because either the kids that are like 9 to 13, they either have to go up or they have to go down. There is nothing really specifically other than, a few Disney things or a few Nickelodeon things that are for preteens. When it comes to films, everything is either above them or below them. So I actually wrote a movie for that. I wanted to write a movie that showed Black men in a positive light, because I felt that's one of the things I wanted to do, because I wanted to make sure that was out there, because we do have some, but back then when I wrote it, is how long did I wrote that movie? I don't even know. 15 years ago. It's going to be the second film I shoot though, but it's called The Garter, and I wrote that. So when I identified something negative that I thought was negative in the industry, I was given the inspiration from God to go ahead and write these movies, and both of them are basically coming to pass now, even though they've been out there for a while, but the scripts are my original scripts and they're coming to pass. But I did something about it. So that's how I took care of that. He said, see the need and fill the void with whatever skills you can bring. Absolutely. And that's one of the things Michael Melvin always talks about in regards to teaching.
Oh, Eric knows, because I know Eric.
Yeah, so that's what Michael always talks about. There's a deficit of knowledge, and I want to share the knowledge. So I go learn this stuff and bring it to us, because I'm not looking up AI stuff like Michael is and sending me videos because I'm not looking it up. So being able to, like you said, see what the need is and fill it, whether that's in whatever space, because there's so many, that's such a broad thing, because there's so many needs, this world needs, and they're all the way down to the exact industries. But so I wanted to jump in there and make sure thank you, Brunk. Make sure I acknowledge. Brunks also said, it's why make something out of nothing can only get you so far when you want good quality work. That is the thing. So what Jacoby said, which I can relate to, is when he made his first film, then he had to go seek the knowledge. Once I was called to write scripts, I took one class, $25, intro to screenwriting at UT Austin, learned how to write a scene, the software, the books, and I wrote my first script. And then I was like, what do I do with it? From there, I literally, and some of you guys know, if you heard me talk before, I sold raffle tickets, $2 a ticket, 3 for $5, and raffled off jewelry pieces to go to trips to LA to these Screenwriting Magazine had these conferences, week-long conferences, and I went to LA, used that money to go to LA, and I learned my craft. I had someone call me last week. I wrote my first script. I said, how long is it? 30 minutes. She was like, how long is it supposed to be? I said, have you done any research? Have you read any scripts other than yours? Because a 30-minute script is not a movie. Like, not
It's a short film.
She was thinking it was a feature film. So anyway, so I was like, now this is where you are. You have to go learn your craft. Now you know you have the desire. Now you've been led to do it. Now it's time to stop and go learn your craft so you can do it well. So shout out to everybody in the comments who are sending comments and interacting with us, and we appreciate you guys being here.
Definitely. Like, and I will say this, okay? The reason I'm saying there's no knowledge deficit and why, and I mean it in this day and age, is because we can all hop on a YouTube, a Google. We have phones. Most people, not everybody, but most people have a cell phone. They can get on the internet and look up stuff. If you can't, there's a library that's free you can go to and you can get information. The mentor part, and you know what I've always said, in order to benefit, you got to be beneficial. And that's the thing I have with us is we're always, when we join the groups, and this is why I'm saying for the Black Filmmakers Lounge community, this is where I'm at. We started that community to be different than the other Black film communities. And we started it because it was supposed to be educational and network. You can promote a film you do. That's great. But I tell people all the time, what are the themes in your film? What are the subject matters that are in your film? Those are the groups you go promote to. I've used this example several times, or thousands of times. If I got a movie and my main character is dealing with cancer or a family, then I go join a group that has people that talks about cancer. You know, and it's not nothing new. It's like cancer is a big thing. OJ just died, pancreatic cancer. My dad has cancer.
He ain't black, he's OJ.
I knew you were gonna do that. That's like, but my dad has cancer. We have friends that have cancer. It's like people are going through stuff, but there are Facebook groups for almost any and everything. And what I find is filmmakers, the film groups are for us to learn, for us to network, for us to build. The other groups are where we go learn more about subject matters. Like if I'm going to write a story about someone dealing with cancer, I'm going to go join the cancer group. I might stay silent. I might share my experiences and I'm going to learn from them. And that way I can develop characters and understand. And later when I put a movie out, I might have reached out, or I'm going to go to the cancer organizations, nonprofits, and say, hey, I got a movie that cancer is my main thing, or Alzheimer's is my main thing, or I got a character who is autistic in my film, and this is the main character or his best friend. And this is where our audience comes from, and knowing, and the thing is, even in business, I'm in business groups. I'm not just in a film group. I'm in, because be real, it's the film business. Film is an adjective. Business is the main thing. And this is why I'm so big on this. Like, yo, we need to get out of our own way sometimes. I've heard people say to me, I don't want to learn unless a black person's teaching. Knowledge is knowledge. You got to learn to be discernment and know when it's good or bad. But at the end of the day, we're talking about an industry that we at first couldn't even be a part of. So when we understand its inner workings, then we can bring that information out to our community, and we take what's good, we use it. We take what's bad, we throw it out.
Exactly.
And that's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's where I'm saying we should. And but here's the thing: we are a circle. Like we all the three of us, Derek, Lewis, because somebody just said, "Where's my Snyderverse person?" Lewis is hanging out somewhere in the comments, but it's like we become our circle and we talk to each other, and when we have questions, we call each other. So we've built a rapport with one another, but we also are able to take the criticism because we know it comes out of love. It comes out of you want to see each other reach this top. And so that criticism happens. And it's like that, but we're family. I always promote it. And TK, you guys notice I promote the family structure of us because we're to look out for each other. And I hold each other accountable. There's no, that people be like, it's lonely at the top. Dude, everybody can be at the top. The problem is, the question is, do you want to be there? And are you willing to work together? Because we are social beings and there's nothing in this world we can't do just by ourselves. We need people for everything. If you don't know how to make food, how are you going to learn how to make food? You got to get with people to teach you. And so for us, networking is key in building that, even in small pocket communities, because honestly, we might not be able to do something big as a bunch of us. It's small pockets coming together that services everybody to get the big thing. But right now, what small pockets are you part of? What are you bringing to your thing? Are you just tagging people to let them know you made something, or are you really connecting and making sure you tell people about that person? If somebody needs a script written, I already point to TK because I want to make sure it puts money in her pocket, because that's how we should think. Everybody who's dealt with me in business knows I negotiate, I pay you, I look at percentages, but here's the thing. If you're good at what you do and you're honest and you're respectful, you make it happen, like you're all around trustworthy, I send people to you no matter what, because I want your pockets flowing. You cannot be greedy.
Yeah. So I would like to be one of the first people to attest that Mike holds you accountable, because he talked about all the cameras that I purchased and told me what I was going to do and I need to stop it. So we laugh about it, but it was a serious conversation almost, right? And so I do agree with Mike. The thing that I say, especially stopping all the negativity, is be what you want to see in the world, right? And the thing that, like, Mike definitely lives what he preaches, so does TK. The thing that, like, if you want to be a network, if you want to mentor or do those things, be a mentor to somebody who's learning under you. Be available for somebody else. Those things will come. Like me, I'm trying to teach the young kids, and they don't want to hear it half the time through all the stuff that I went through. And I share and give stuff away. Like, I give equipment sometimes. I offer my stuff. I'm available, and anytime a young kid with a camera asks me a question, I give them the knowledge. There's some that calls me, some don't. I don't take it personal. I don't get into it, and I don't ask them for anything, because there have been people in my life, and it hasn't been around film necessarily, but there are people in my life that literally saved me from going in a completely different direction. And so to pass that on is to continue to give everything that TK and Michael Melvin said. If you want to see the negativity, like, and my thing about this, the other part is, don't complain about the people that you don't want to be. Just don't be them. And that's the thing. Like what I was talking about, Michael, we talk about all the black people, right? We say our community, because we're complaining and we're spreading the negativity that we're also fighting against. But it's just different because it's what we see is wrong. If we continue, like, I love I call Mike sends me texts, and we talk about all kind of other stuff. But he doesn't even realize sometimes he's the person that keeps me going when times are rough. He cracks a joke about cheap people when we're going through dealing with cheap things. Or Mike, and I have another guy, Larry Dortch, who's giving me equipment, mailed me stuff. He runs his own YouTube page, but he was a big brother, and he's a big brother in filmmaking. I'm going to tell you one word he said to me. He said, stop telling me about all your projects and go shoot some shit, because I don't give a damn. You've been talking for months, and you ain't shot nothing. So you don't need to buy a camera. You don't need to buy nothing. Don't go shoot and then tell me what's going on. And literally after that, my feelings were hurt. I could say my feelings were hurt, but that's why I tell people, don't get in your feeling. My feelings were only hurt because he was right. Right? And I had to sit and self-reflect. And so that's my big brother. He's harsh, but he never does anything to be mean or anything. It's how he communicates. Everything is out of love. And if I need a lens, you know what I mean?
Derek was somewhere. I knew.
But you
Derek
know
was
what?
somewhere.
We do have to have account. Here's the thing: whether it hurts our feelings or not, we have to have
Yeah.
accountability. That's the bottom line, because that's the only way we're gonna keep elevating each other. Hey, okay, do this. Hey, you say you were gonna do this. Hey, TK, what about your film? Hey, this, that. We do have, sometimes it's like, oh man, okay. But my daughter won't even tell me her stuff because she's like, you stressed me out, because it's accountability. Like every month or so, I'll say, hey, did you look up or did you do? Mom. Nobody, everybody wants to have dreams, but it's like, Jalen, like you're 30, like you know what I mean? I'm just every couple of months asking you, what are you doing towards this thing that you said you wanted to do? But we have to hold each other. We really do. We have to hold each other accountable. And it's like, I have people in my ear all the time. Hey, sis, even though I'm moving and I'm doing stuff, but it's still like, they like, hey, sis, did you, people that not even in the industry. Hey, sis, did you get some instructions? Did you follow whatever you're supposed to do? Did you call the strip club? Did you do, whatever it is? They will come back around and start asking me questions. So, but yeah, so I think that could be all of our gym right there, is about being able to not being greedy, not being selfish and only want, coming into film groups or things just to take, instead of also being beneficial. Like Michael said, Jacoby, both of you guys talk about the willingness to learn and then the willingness to be held accountable. I think that is all. I'm gonna go watch that OJ documentary too. I love documentaries. That is my number one genre, sports documentary.
You don't need to
I
watch
love
OJ.
but I watch all the I watch a lot of documentaries. But anyway, so
if it don't fit, then it must have quit. That's all you need to know.
All I'm gonna say, because my simple jewel, easiest jewel, is you need to travel in packs of 3 in this manner. When it comes to mentoring, you have a mentor, you have an accountability partner, and you have a mentee. Those are the 3. And when you focus on that in the building, because your mentor is all of them should be holding you accountable as a person, but your accountability partner is somebody you're walking side by side. They're not above you or below you. They're with you so that you're sharing common goals and experiences. Your mentee is you're building them up. Eventually, if you're truly a true mentor, you want to see your mentee even at some point surpass you, if that comes to that point. You never want to hold them back or hold them up. And as a true mentor, you need to be aware when you need to pass on your mentee to someone else who can mentor them, because your guidance is that limited. It's like as simple as this. If I know that I got an apartment and my mentee's trying to buy a house, I need to send them to someone who's gonna guide them through what it takes to buy a house, because I'm in an apartment. I can't get jealous because of their moving in stature. It's that I have to understand their upward movement is beneficial to them, and it may even help me see it. Now, I may have a logical reason why I'm in an apartment. Maybe I'm a nomadic, and so buying a home doesn't make sense to me. But maybe buying a home for real estate reasons makes better sense to me, because that's income based. So when I understand those things, then I understand that movement and how to guide people. So remember those 3 people: your mentor, your accountability partner, and your mentee. That's what I got. Y'all good?
And I want to hang out with Derek. If Derek is telling Mike that kind of stuff, I want to hang out with Derek.
Oh, you never met Derek?
No, I never met Derek.
We got to bring Derek Hammond back on, man.
Derek is always welcome to come on. Derek, like I said, Derek has a wealth of knowledge, wealth of information. He's always free to give. He's not selfish. Love Derek.
Awesome. Does he shoot on Sony?
Nah, he's using.
Okay. All right. So that's you trying to start a whole different conversation. Darrell is the same thing. I call Darrell and ask questions. I call Derek and ask questions. I call Darrell, Brandon. I call Michael. I be calling everybody.
You don't call me, TK? I'm
have
offended
I called
now.
You?
No, you ain't called me. Hell no.
You know what? I need to stop treating. You know what, Jacoby? Let me tell you. I gotta stop treating you like people treat me.
Derek's response to your Sony, man. I told you.
Hold up. So first of all, Derek, I did shoot on red. I did.
Yeah, he had a red.
Then I didn't.
And then he will again.
No, I'll shoot on a Nikon maybe. But so I need Derek's phone number because actually, and I think I told you, Mike, and I'm sorry for everybody for bringing this up. This is just something. I just applied for the cinematographer job for one of the cinematographer jobs for the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh,
and I shot on.
Yo, we hope you
and I
get it. We be praying on your behalf, brother. That means you get closer to hang out with me.
Nah, I'd be going the other way. I don't know yet, but I need to learn. I really need to learn Ari because that's one of the things they asked me about. And I've never shot on an Ari, but I'm pretty sure I can learn it.
I wonder if there's an Ari book because when I never shot on red, I still bought a red book and like studied the red. So when I got it in front of me, I knew some of the buttons and things like that.
You're a book person, Michael. You're a book person.
That's
why you be sitting all the...
I'm a learn about it as much as possible. Yeah, I used to stay in Barnes & Noble and like all the time. There's Derek's number right there. I was going to give it to him, Derek.
I'll send it to you.
I didn't want people to crazily like...
text
I didn't want people to just like reach out to you, Derek, like that.
Yeah, this is on YouTube.
But
delete
Derek
that
is so
comment,
open.
Derek.
Yeah, go ahead and delete it, brother. Derek, I'll send him your stuff.
Oh yeah, because now you didn't put it out to the whole YouTube world, but that's why I love Derek.
Well,
he's
that's
like,
on Facebook, but yeah, go ahead and delete it, brother. I'll send it.
Well, we on YouTube over here, but what I was gonna say was when you said that, Michael, was dang it.
He's a nerd like the rest of us. That's why he likes.
Oh no. I learned by reading some, but I'm more hands-on and workshops and stuff like that. You're a book like somebody gave me Screenwriting for Dummies. I made it to chapter 5 in 1 year. This is after I had been writing about 13 years. Somebody told me to read this book and I couldn't even read it. Robert McKee, screenwriting book. I read the first 2 pages. I cannot read
because that's
I
dense.
cannot.
Robert McKee's
this is
book
after
is
I
dense.
have written numerous films. Those 2 books. I was like, I can't So I'm more books, but workshops and hands-ons. Because Screenwriter's Bible, Save the Cat, they were easy, simple, to the point reads. That Robert McKee, like I said, 2-3 pages. I'd sit it down. He said that's the wrong number. I can't see.
Well, the thing is, the Screenwriter's Bible is more of a workbook as well, right? And Save the Cat. They all require you to do something while you're reading them. Others are just read. And so for me, studying, I got to do stuff. Like I'm a hands-on. So I like filmmaking. I couldn't teach nothing else. I taught other stuff in school. Like I taught stuff when I teach. But I can't get away from film and media because I like doing. And you see results from doing.
We got to set our classes up, Mike, one day to do this. To have a lot
and share.
Yeah.
I'll see that. We definitely got to talk to our principals, but because y'all in Delaware. But I've been trying to get you an art.
And Kelly Gray too. Kelly Gray teaches the same thing in Dallas.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we did talk about The Educator. I threw the book Kill the Fog away. Kill the Fog. It's a book called Kill the Fog.
No, I thought it was Who Killed the Cat. It was Kill
Save
the Frog.
The Cat. He said Kill the Fog.
There's a Kill the Cat one too. There's one about killing a cat.
Yeah, he wrote a second one.
Yeah.
Well, look, Mike, this is football Sunday.
The dog. Yeah.
Saturday. I gotta get ready.
Yeah, you gotta go. All right, y'all. We're sorry. We hold y'all up, but this is what happens when we start talking and getting together. So we're gonna kill the dog.
I know.
Let's make this happen. Yo, remember this. We are the Black Filmmakers Lounge, Saturday morning, and the Industry Shop Talk. I'm your host, Michael Melvin, with my co-hosts, Tamari TK Henderson and Jacoby Simmons. And we're doing what it is we do. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us, like always. We want to remind you of what it is we're about. The Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, where novice and professionals can come together to gain insight, perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black interdependent film community. So keep it going. Like, subscribe, share. Pop this into
Like,
your
subscribe,
friends.
and
We're going to keep
share.
this going. We love y'all. Enjoy your Saturday.
Bye,
Go out,
Malikia.
film something. Maybe I get Kobe here one day and we go out just playing around with our cameras and be serious. Either way, we love y'all. We talk to y'all and we out. Peace.
Bye, Darwin. Thank you for joining. Bye.
Thank y'all. Have a blessed weekend.